Hello, hello, hello. My name is Tristan Dominguez, and today I'm going to be talking about the psychosocial impact of bullying, identity, and resilience in marginalized communities. This kind of talks about my journey from being bullied, from my makeup and drag in high school, to discovering my resilience drives my passion for this subject. How does bullying affect mental health, academic performance, and social identity in marginalized communities? This central question kind of guides our exploration. Imagine bullying as a relentless storm that disrupts just every aspect of life, from how we think and to our ability to learn and connect with others. Today, we'll uncover how the storm uniquely impacts marginalized communities. So, what is bullying? Um, Bullying is repeated aggressive behavior with intent to harm. This can be verbal, physical, relational, cyberbullying, which seems to be pretty present here in our modern day social media. Um, Speaking of cyberbullying, cyberbullying is defined as aggressive acts online that extend bullying beyond physical boundaries. Imagine kind of being followed by a swarm of mosquitoes. Each bite is a constant irritation. Bullying is similar. It's not a single incident, but a continuous assault that preys on your vulnerabilities almost. Um, Physical bullying might sound like a forceful shove or hit. Verbal bullying is like a stinging insult that lingers. Relational bullying excludes you uh, from being shut out from a gathering with friends, and cyberbullying is like that mosquito swarm. Bites persistently online, where the hurt truly never fades. And how prevalent is bullying? So, 1 in 3 children are affected by bullying during their lifetime. Um, this statistic isn't abstract. It means that in every classroom, 1 out of 3 children carry that invisible scar of bullying. It's a powerful reminder that these wounds are widespread. Approximately 28 to 30% of US high school students report being bullied on school property. Cyberbullying rates, so it's about 15 to 20 for older youth and about 20.9% among tweens. So we can kind of see it kind of holds up a little bit as you get older, but still is very much present. Cyberbullying in the digital age. Cyberbullying has surged over the past 5 years, which, thinking back about technology and social media, it makes sense. We are very much connected nowadays. There's chat rooms and Snapchat, and everyone can say whatever's on their mind. And 23.2% of United States youth have been cyberbullied in the last month. That is an insane high number. Online harassment is pervasive on platforms popular among teens, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Um, Cyberbullying is, like as referred to earlier, like that swarm of mosquitoes, relentless and hard to escape almost. Just as a swarm of mosquitoes follows you, a barrage of hurtful online messages invades your personal space day or night. No matter where you are, the sting is just always there. And platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok connect us, but also amplify those hurtful messages. Digital platforms are double edged swords. They allow for self expression and connection, but they also open the door to constant, unfiltered cruelty that can feel both inescapable and overwhelming. Bullying and suicide risk. LGBTQ youth are 4 times as likely to attempt suicide compared to cisgender or heterosexual peers. Among LGBTQ middle school students, 29% of bullied individuals attempt suicide versus 12% who were not bullied. Overall, bullied youth have 2 to 9 times greater risk for suicidal ideation. And so, as we can see among these 3 columns, this is not just a statistic, it's a call for urgent compassion. For marginalized youth already burdened by rejection, the added weight of bullying can shatter hope completely entirely. Vulnerability of LGBTQ youth. Studies show up to 70% of Native/Indigenous queer students and 61% of transgender and or non-binary students report bullying. Queer students often face verbal, physical, and electronic bullying, cyberbullying, at much higher rates than their peers. This is almost like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rejection and cruelty, a burden that makes every single step harder. That is the reality for many queer young people whose lives are shadowed by just relentless judgment. Gay teens are 8.4 times more likely to report having attempted suicide. These percentages illustrate real, everyday pain that our youth goes through. Each point represents a life marked by deep emotional scars and demand our empathy and action. Moving on to demographics and intersectionality, racial and ethnic differences. White and multiracial LGBTQ youth report bullying at rates around 54 to 70%, while Latinx and Asian American Pacific Islander youth report lower rates. Gender disparities, trans and non-binary youth experience higher rates than cisgender LGBTQ youth. 64 versus 45%, so much higher. This tells us that bullying in general isn't just a one size fits all experience. Just as light can split into many different colors on a prism, the impact of bullying can differ vastly among different racial and cultural groups. Trans and non-binary youth face significantly higher bullying rates than their counterpart cisgender peers. When various identities intersect, the pain multiplies, as we see here, the intersection. LGBTQ youth of color face dual stigma from both racism and homophobia. This can kind of add an extra level of hardship, making queer individuals' journeys harder towards self-acceptance and just make their life even more challenging. Psychological effects. Increased risk for depression, anxiety, PTSD, lower self-esteem, and higher feelings of isolation. Victims are almost 12% more likely to have suicidal ideation if cyberbullied versus 8.4 times for verbal bullying. Each hurtful message online is so tragic. It weakens self-esteem, pushing victims toward despair and, tragically, suicidal thoughts. Now, moving on to social and academic impact. Social isolation and mistrust can hinder forming healthy relationships. Bullying leads to higher absenteeism and lower academic performance. Example being, queer students are 5 times as likely to miss school due to safety concerns. Even myself as a queer individual, when A young person feels unsafe, the classroom can feel like a hostile environment for many queer youth. The fear of being harmed or um, made a comment toward causes them to miss school, robbing them of opportunities to learn and grow, which is what school is for, which is so unfair. And this is a great quote that I found online, and it's kind of the epitome of the gay experience, I feel like, and I feel like this would resonate with many other queer individuals. But when you're bullied, you start believing you're unworthy of friendship and success, which is untrue. That is not true at all. You are worthy of so much, no matter who you are, where you come from. Just because you love a certain way does not mean you don't deserve the same things as everybody else. So now, onto the cringier part of this presentation. I have uh, shown 3 pictures of me through varying times of my life. So here in the middle is where I want to bring the attention to. This is me my sophomore year. So cute. As you can tell, I'm not wearing that much makeup. Outfits are quite questionable. And then right up here, next year is my junior year. As we can see, I have this horrific eyeliner on and horribly blended foundation. Um, and whew, it was a hard time. And then all the way down to the right, we are going to have my senior year. And as you can tell, I was kind of going through some things, kind of figuring out who and what I wanted to be. I got that purple hair going on, the money pieces. I have these big earrings, heavy blush, ginormous lashes, heavy highlighter. I was kind of, these are just varying stages of just who I am. Like, as we can see here, was kind of, just getting into like mascara, kind of got like into like foundation, and like senior year was kind of putting it all together, kind of branching out, kind of feeling everything. And the reason I bring up this picture in the middle is because I was bullied a lot in high school for expressing myself genuinely through makeup. I can still vividly remember how my passion for makeup and drag was met with cruelty. Those moments felt like someone was deliberately trying to erase my self expression, painting over my own true colors. And as we can see from the difference in these 2 pictures, this caused me to deeply kind of take that hate from the outside and bring it inward. It caused me kind of hate myself in my junior year. I developed an eating disorder, and as we can see, I went from 270 pounds to 140 in just a year. That is a crazy, unhealthy, drastic difference. And it's showing you that in these previous slides, those numbers aren't just numbers. They're actual people whose lives are just as vivid as yours are. So these things are very real, and it's kind of I'm kind of get out of words. It's very impactful just to see me kind of grow like this. But each cruel remark wasn't just a word; it was an attack that stripped away, the vibrancy of my identity. But yet, in time, I learned to kind of piece together those fragments of myself, turning that pain into a source of, strength and art. So, what a journey. Moving on to the efforts on academics. Victims report lower grades, school avoidance, and higher dropout rates. LGBTQ youth particularly may miss school due to safety concerns, up to 30% per CDC. Bullying disrupts concentration and participation in class. We kind of went over in the previous slides how it can kind of, impact like attendance and absenteeism. Moving on to the role of schools and communities. inclusive policies such as like anti-bullying laws that specifically mention sexual orientation and gender identity, lowering bullying rates. Programs like GSA, Gay Straight Alliance, cultural competence, training for staff, and clear reporting procedures make quite the difference. Schools must be safe harbors, not battlegrounds, places where every student feels safe and protected. Clear anti-bullying policies, counseling, and peer support groups are completely essential. These measures are like sturdy bridges to allow students to cross from isolation to connection. They help transform pain into healing, ensuring that like no student is left to face bullying alone. Moving on to research and the future, many gaps remain in understanding bullying's long-term impact on intersectional identities, as we kind of touched on earlier. Need for more research on effective interventions for cyberbullying and queer youth. Emphasis on longitudinal studies to track mental health outcomes over time. Further research in general is needed to understand bullying's long-term impact on all identities. Studies on resilience, self-efficiency, and social support offer hope and guide future interventions. So now moving on, we're kind of at a new change of pace here. So we'll see a couple photos up here. This is me at my job, having my little cute hairstyle and my suit on. This middle picture kind of gives you a glimpse of how my makeup is kind of transformed into a self-reflection of who I demonstrate myself to be. And on the very end, we'll see a picture of me and my best friend, Elise, who has been my best friend since high school and has been through it all with me, my rock. And these all kind of demonstrate who I am and my identity. And I have this quote that I love so much. In reclaiming my identity, I turned that pain into power, which is all about the queer resiliency nowadays, using your voice to be an advocate. Every act is an act toward a better future. I'm so beyond blessed to be surrounded by a supportive family, great friends, an excellent job that accepts me. So amazing. Some key takeaways. Bullying is pervasive, with cyberbullying intensifying harm in today's digital world. Queer youth face disproportionate risk for mental health issues and academic disruption. Supportive policies, community programs, and personal resilience are essential for healing. Bullying is a destructive storm that I mentioned way earlier in the presentation. But it can be weathered with resilient support and actual self-belief. In summary, while bullying can devastate lives like the fierce storm, our inner strength and support of those around us enable us to rebuild ourselves into a better person. Moving on to some names that may or may not sound familiar. We're going to start here with Nex. Nex was a transgender 16-year-old who recently transitioned in the middle of their school semester and was jumped by 3 classmates and tragically succumbed to the bullying later that night. So in remembrance, we hold Nex. Moving on to Jamie Rodmeyer. Jamie Rodmeyer was a gay 14-year-old who took his own life after being cyberbullied online. Jamie loved sharing his interests, passions. He would post about, what the social culture was going on, his favorite music. Just researching into Jamie makes you see that he was just like everybody else. And eventually, his blogs got to kind of the wrong community, and he got bullied online, and it eventually led to him taking his own life. So, in remembrance, we say to Jamie. Uh, Lastly, we have a very famous story that a lot of queer um individuals may know the name of Channing Smith. He was a gay 16-year-old from Tennessee. Channing was not out to anyone in his school, his friends, his family. Um, so he was sending sexually explicit messages to another boy at his school. Um, when a previous ex of his um, got his phone and saw the messages, screenshotted them, and posted them all over Snapchat. Um, this in turn got Channing bullied a lot in school, and not only in school but also on social media. All over Snapchat, his name was posted everywhere. And unfortunately, that led to him taking his own life. And seeing someone from the South, it again kind of tells you that earlier in the presentation that these statistics aren't just numbers. They have faces and names and hobbies and blogs, and they do things that everyone else does. Their lives are just as vivid as, you and I. So in this way, this is the spectrum of identities, Next being transgender, Jamie being gay, and Channing, unfortunately, we are less determined by his cell phone. And here I have all of my references, and I have a part two. Um, and thank you so much for allowing me to share my story and have the opportunity to talk about something that I'm really passionate about. And thank you very much.